My name is Nora Hayes, and when I asked for a promotion, my boss laughed and said, "Don't overreach." Now I sign his severance checks. He thought I was just another cog in his Seattle tech empire, replaceable and invisible. But 2 years later, I wasn't just climbing the corporate ladder. I was running the company, approving bonuses for the team that doubted me while my old boss begged for a second chance. It started in a glass-walled conference room at Peak Pulse, a Seattle-based SaaS company specializing in project management software. I was 29, a mid-level product analyst who'd spent 3 years crunching data, streamlining features, and saving projects from disaster. My boss, Greg Tanner, was the VP of Product, a slick-talking exec with a corner office and a knack for taking credit. I'd been at Peak Pulse since graduating from the University of Washington, pouring my heart into the company. My dashboards had boosted client retention by 15%, and I'd led a feature rollout that saved $200,000 in development costs. But when I pitched myself for a senior analyst role, Greg leaned back, smirking. "Nora, you're good, but don't overreach. Stay in your lane." My colleagues, including my work friend Claire, stayed silent, their eyes on their laptops. The rejection stung. I went home to my Capitol Hill apartment, a cramped one-bedroom with a view of Puget Sound, and vented to my roommate, Zoe, a freelance writer. He laughed, "Zoe. Like I'm a joke." She handed me a coffee, her voice firm. "You're not a joke, Nora. You're the brains behind their product. Start playing smarter." My family wasn't as supportive. At a dinner in Bellevue, my mom, a retired teacher, sighed. "Maybe you're pushing too hard, Nora. Be grateful for your job." My brother Derek, a finance bro, chuckled. "Tech's cutthroat. You're not exec material." I gripped my fork, my jaw tight. "I'm not settling," I said. They exchanged looks like I was delusional. I wasn't delusional, I was determined. Zoe's words stuck with me. If Greg wouldn't promote me, I'd make myself undeniable. I started working smarter, not just harder. I took online courses in product management, learning agile frameworks and UX design. I stayed late, analyzing user data to pitch new features. One night, I found a bug in our core software that could have crashed a client's system. I fixed it, documented it, and sent a report to Greg. He presented it to the CEO, Vanessa Reed, as his own idea. I wasn't surprised, but I was done being invisible. I started building allies. I mentored a junior analyst, Samir, who was eager but green. We collaborated on a new dashboard that cut client onboarding time by 20%. I shared credit with him, earning his loyalty. I pitched ideas to our lead developer, Priya, who trusted my instincts. "You're wasted as an analyst, Nora," she said one day over coffee. "You should be running product." I smiled, my plan forming. I wasn't just aiming for senior analyst anymore. I wanted Greg's job. My first big break came at a client meeting with a major account, a retail chain paying $500,000 annually for our software. Greg was late, stuck in traffic, so I stepped up. I walked the client through our analytics, showing how my dashboards had boosted their efficiency. They were impressed, signing a 2-year renewal on the spot. Vanessa, the CEO, was in the room, her eyes sharp. "Good work, Nora," she said afterward. "You've got a knack for this." I nodded, keeping my cool. Greg showed up, flustered, and claimed the win in his next team meeting. I didn't argue, I was playing the long game. Outside work, I built my network. Seattle's tech scene was tight-knit, and I started attending meetups at co-working spaces in Pioneer Square. I met Lena Ortiz, a startup consultant who'd scaled 3 companies to acquisition. Over beers at a Belltown bar, I shared my vision. A revamped Peak Pulse product that could dominate the SaaS market. "You're thinking like a VP," Lena said. "But you need visibility. Get in front of Vanessa." I took her advice, volunteering for a cross-department project Vanessa was overseeing. A new AI feature for our software. I led a team of 5, including Samir and Priya, delivering the feature under budget and ahead of schedule. Vanessa emailed me directly, "Impressive, Nora. Let's talk soon." But Greg wasn't blind. He noticed my momentum and doubled down. At a team meeting, I pitched a new workflow tool to streamline client tasks. Greg cut me off, laughing. "Nora, that's ambitious, but let's stick to what works." Claire, who'd been promoted to senior analyst, the role I'd wanted, nodded along. Later she pulled me aside. "Don't rock the boat, Nora. Greg doesn't like being challenged." I smiled, my voice calm. "I'm not challenging him. I'm outworking him. Claire looked uneasy, but I didn't care. I was done playing small. The turning point came when I overheard a rumor at a tech mixer. Peak Pulse was struggling. 2 major clients had left and our stock was dipping. Greg's team was under fire for slow updates, and whispers said Vanessa was eyeing a leadership shakeup. I saw my chance. I spent nights crafting a 10-page proposal for a product overhaul. AI-driven analytics, automated workflows, and a sleek UX to win back clients. I sent it to Vanessa, copying Lena for feedback. Lena's reply was blunt. This is C-suite material. Push for a meeting. I did, requesting a one-on-one with Vanessa. She agreed, scheduling it for the following week. As I prepared, my family kept doubting. Derek called, his tone smug. Heard your company's in trouble. Still chasing that promotion. My mom texted, urging me to play it safe. Even Claire, now cozy with Greg, warned me at lunch. Vanessa's tough, Nora. Don't embarrass yourself. I ignored them, focusing on my pitch. But the rumor mill churned. Greg was pitching his own vision to save Peak Pulse, claiming my ideas as his. I wasn't angry, I was ready. If he wanted a fight, I'd win it. Then came a surprise. Samir overheard Greg at a bar venting to Claire. Nora's getting too big for her boots, he said. If she keeps this up, I'll make sure she's out. Claire laughed, agreeing. I didn't confront them. Instead, I polished my proposal, adding data from our client wins and my AI feature's success. I was about to walk into Vanessa's office with a plan to save Peak Pulse and replace Greg. They'd laughed when I asked for a promotion. They'd see soon enough who was signing the checks. Hey, Revenge Tempest fans. Can you feel Nora's hustle? She's turning rejection into power. Want to see her approve her boss's bonus? Smash that subscribe button and join our squad. Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from. A year after my boss, Greg Tanner, laughed off my promotion request at Peak Pulse, a Seattle-based SaaS company, I was no longer the overlooked product analyst he'd dismissed. My dashboards had saved major clients, and my AI feature had boosted revenue by $300,000. I'd built allies, Samir, Priya, and consultant Lena Ortiz, while my family and coworker Claire doubted me. Greg thought I was overreaching, but with Peak Pulse struggling and whispers of a leadership shakeup, I was positioning myself to take his place and sign his severance check. Peak Pulse was in trouble. 2 major clients had jumped ship and our stock had dropped 10%. Greg's team was blamed for slow updates and clunky software, and CEO Vanessa Reed was demanding results. I saw my opening. My 10-page product overhaul proposal, AI-driven analytics, automated workflows, and a sleek UX, was ready, and my meeting with Vanessa was days away. I spent nights refining it, adding data from my client wins and user feedback Samir had collected. Lena coached me over coffee at a Fremont cafe. Nora, you're not just pitching a product, she said. You're pitching yourself as VP. Sell it. I nodded, my laptop glowing with charts. I wasn't just saving Peak Pulse, I was claiming my spot. My work was paying off. My team's latest feature, a predictive analytics tool, cut client churn by 8%, earning praise from a major retailer. Samir and Priya ran point, but I led the rollout, presenting results in a company-wide meeting. Vanessa was there, her eyes locked on my slides. Greg tried to jump in, claiming credit, but Vanessa cut him off. Nora, walk us through the numbers. I did, detailing $150,000 in saved revenue. The room buzzed and Greg's smile faltered. After Priya whispered, You're making waves, Nora. He's nervous. I smiled, keeping my cool. Let him sweat. Outside work, I kept building my network. At a Seattle Tech Alliance event, I met Raj Patel, a VC who'd funded 2 SaaS unicorns. I pitched Peak Pulse's potential, framing my overhaul as the key to market dominance. You're thinking like a leader, Raj said, handing me his card. If Vanessa doesn't promote you, I know startups that would. His words fueled me. I wasn't just aiming for Greg's job. I was building a reputation that could take me anywhere. But Greg fought back. At a team meeting, I pitched a new client portal to streamline support tickets. Greg interrupted, laughing. Nor, that's a stretch. Focus on your reports. Claire, now his favorite senior analyst, nodded smugly. Later, she cornered me in the break room. Don't push Greg, Nora. He's got Vanessa's ear. I met her gaze. I'm not pushing him, Claire. I'm passing him. She blinked, caught off guard. I didn't care. I'd overheard Greg telling Claire he'd handle my meeting with Vanessa, hinting he'd pitch a rival plan. I wasn't worried. My data was stronger and Vanessa wasn't blind. The rumors about Peak Pulse struggles grew louder. Samir heard at a tech mixer that Greg's latest project, a rushed app update, had crashed during a client demo, costing us a $400,000 account. Whispers said Vanessa was livid and Greg was on thin ice. I seized the moment. I emailed Vanessa, attaching my proposal and requesting to present it to the board. She replied within hours, "Impressive work, Nora. You're on the agenda." My heart raced. This wasn't just a meeting, it was my shot to outshine Greg and take his role. My family's doubts didn't stop. At a coffee shop meetup with my brother Derek, he smirked. "Heard your company's tanking. Still chasing that VP dream?" I sipped my latte unfazed. "Peak Pulse isn't tanking, it's pivoting. Watch me." My mom called, her voice soft. "Nora, don't risk your job. Greg's the boss for a reason." I cut her off. "He's the boss for now." Even Claire piled on, texting me a friendly warning. "Greg's pitching to the board too. Don't embarrass yourself." I didn't reply. Their doubts were noise, I was focused on signal. The board presentation was set for a Friday at Peak Pulse's downtown Seattle office, the Space Needle visible through the windows. I spent days practicing with Lena, who drilled me on tough questions. "Greg will play dirty," she warned. "Highlight your wins and his flops, but stay professional." I nodded, my slides packed with data. $300,000 in revenue from my features, 8% churn reduction, and a plan to win back clients. Greg's plan, I'd heard, was a rehash of old features with no innovation. I was ready to bury him. Then came a curveball. Samir overheard Greg in the office, venting to Claire. "Nora's proposal is solid, but I'll spin it as mine," he said. "She's not VP material." Claire laughed, agreeing. My blood boiled, but I stayed calm. I added a section to my pitch, detailing my role in every win with timestamps and emails to prove it. If Greg wanted to steal credit, he'd crash hard. Then came a curveball. Samir overheard Greg in the office, venting to Claire. "Nora's proposal is solid, but I'll spin it as mine," he said. "She's not VP material." Claire laughed, agreeing. My blood boiled, but I stayed calm. I added a section to my pitch, detailing my role in every win with timestamps and emails to prove it. If Greg wanted to steal credit, he'd crash hard. As the board meeting loomed, Claire texted again, her tone desperate. "Nora, I heard you're pitching to the board. Need a second on your team?" My role's shaky. I stared at the message. She'd backed Greg when he laughed at me, and now she wanted in? I didn't respond. My focus was on Vanessa, the board, and the VP title. They'd called me replaceable, but I was about to replace Greg at the top. 15 months after my boss, Greg Tanner, laughed off my promotion request at Peak Pulse, a Seattle-based SaaS company, I stood in the boardroom facing the company's leadership. My family, my brother Derek, my parents, and my coworker Claire had called me replaceable, but my AI features and dashboards had saved $300,000 and won back clients. Greg thought he could steal my ideas, but with CEO Vanessa Reed's eyes on me and Peak Pulse's future at stake, I was about to take his job and sign his severance check. The board presentation was make or break. Peak Pulse had lost 2 major clients and our stock was down 10%. My 10-page proposal, AI-driven analytics, automated workflows, and a sleek UX, was built to turn things around. I'd spent weeks with my mentor Lena Ortiz, refining every slide backed by data. $150,000 in saved revenue, 8% churn reduction, and a plan to triple our client base. Greg was pitching too, but whispers said his plan was a recycled mess. I walked into the boardroom, my blazer sharp, my notes clutched tight. Vanessa sat at the head, her face unreadable. Greg went first, his slides heavy with jargon but light on results. He claimed credit for my AI feature, but his numbers didn't add up. The board shifted, restless. Then it was my turn. I stood tall, my voice steady. "Peak Pulse is bleeding clients because our software's outdated," I said, clicking to a graph of our losses. "My plan leverages AI analytics and automation to cut churn by 20% and add $1 million in revenue by next year." I walked them through my wins, $300,000 from my features, a 20% faster onboarding process, and a retailer's renewal I'd secured. I showed emails proving I'd led every project Greg claimed. The board leaned in asking sharp questions. I answered with data, not bluster. Vanessa nodded, her pen tapping. Greg's face was red, his confidence crumbling. 2 days later, Vanessa called me to her office. "Nora, your plan's a lifeline," she said. "The board's naming you VP of Product, effective immediately. Greg's out." My heart pounded. At 29? I nodded, professional but buzzing. "Thank you, Vanessa. I'm ready." She smiled faintly. "I know. Clean up his mess." Greg was given a choice: a junior role reporting to me or a severance package. He chose severance, his ego too big to stay. I signed his exit check, $50,000 standard for his level. My signature steady. Claire, his loyal senior analyst, was demoted to my old role, her bonus now in my hands. The news spread fast. Peak Pulse stock ticked up 5% after my promotion was announced, and clients signed new contracts, citing my features. I moved into Greg's corner office, the Seattle skyline glittering through the windows. My team, Samir, Priya, and new hires I'd on board, rallied behind me, rolling out my overhaul plan. We launched the new client portal, cutting support tickets by 30%, and landed a $600,000 account with a logistics firm. Our Instagram, run by a new social media lead, hit 10,000 followers with posts showcasing our rebirth. TechTrend magazine called me Seattle's rising tech star, and I got LinkedIn messages from VCs, including Raj Patel, offering to back my next venture. My family's reaction came at a tense dinner in Kirkland. Derek, my brother, stared at me stunned. "VP? Oh, that's huge. Need a finance guy?" My firm's slow. My mom's eyes were wet. "We're proud, honey. We didn't know you could do this." I leaned back, my voice calm. "You said I was pushing too hard." I pushed harder. Claire, invited by my mom, approached nervously. "Nora, you're killing it. Any openings?" My role's shaky. I smiled, cool but firm. "You backed Greg when he laughed at me, Claire. I'm full for now." They left, their apologies hollow. I didn't need them anymore. Greg reached out a week later, his voice strained. "Nora, you played me. Can we talk? I could consult for Peak Pulse." I laughed softly. "You called me replaceable, Greg. I replaced you. Good luck." I hung up, my focus on the company. Vanessa gave me a $100,000 bonus for my first quarter as VP, which I used to pay off my student loans and donate to a Women in Tech program. Lena Ortiz, my mentor, met me for drinks at Pike Place Market. "You didn't just take his job," she said, grinning. "You took his legacy." A year later, I stood in Peak Pulse's new office, a sleek space in South Lake Union. We had 120 clients, $2 million in annual revenue, and a valuation of $20 million. My overhaul had doubled our market share, and I was mentoring young analysts, including Samir, now a senior team member. Claire still worked under me, her performance average, her bonus approved by me. My family called often, eager to support my career, but I kept them at arm's length. Busy running a company, I'd say. Greg had taken a low-level role at a failing startup, his LinkedIn full of vague, consulting posts. Success wasn't about proving Greg wrong, though signing his severance felt good. It was about proving Lena and Zoe right, the women who saw my potential when I was invisible. When Greg laughed at my promotion request, I didn't argue. I planned. And when I signed his check, I wasn't just winning. I was rewriting the story he thought he'd write for me. Hey, Revenge Tempest fans. Did Nora's takeover give you goosebumps? We're all about fierce women and epic triumphs here, so smash that subscribe button to join our squad. Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from.